Angela. I hope you can hear me. Please let me know if you're hearing me and seeing my desktop. Uh-oh. Hi, Diane. I'm going to be... Oh, great. Thanks, Angela, for letting me know. We've got about not quite 10 minutes before the lesson starts, and I have a couple things to finish up. So if you guys would just like to talk together, that would be great. Wonderful, Robin. Hello. Okay, I'm off for just a couple minutes until the lesson starts. Maria, Katia, and Janella. So glad you've joined us. We got a few more minutes yet to wait for people. Yeah, the birds. These are, if you've been in a class before, this was a design I had started, and I started out with this little bird, and I don't even have, I guess the sample is in the other room. Let me grab that for a second. I hope you guys haven't been, hi Lisa, hearing too much background noise while I've been getting ready. I'm so glad to see you all here. Hi Tammy. So glad you're able to join in. Let me see if this darkness isn't quite good enough on my table. Not that we're going to be looking at the table a lot, but anyway, this was my beginning drawing. This is for like a fantasy, kind of a quirky bird. That was our topic. And this, you probably won't even recognize it as the start of this bird. And when you're designing, this is what happens. You try things. I was trying to get my little spiral in here for the wing, and I pretty much got that. And some little feathers at the end of the wing. Those are twisted picots. And then this was the head with the little quirky top head things. And then this started out as the head itself and the little beak. Only it looks so much more like, to me, like a kind of like a snail with the head sticking out. So, and if I turn it this way, it's almost like a turtle. So, well, with the head too far up. But then I wanted to put these loose little floppy, tail pieces on. And instead of going up, I think they're going to flop down. I wanted to use Clooney's in this. So anyway, that's where I am in that. I haven't worked any more on it. But when you're designing, sometimes your first pieces, I know now what I can use to start. This is my new design. I decided, I happen to have this sitting next to me from a class. Just a sample of, it's got mignonette on the bottom of it. But I got to thinking about the flower, and years ago I designed a little lamb that's got all flowers, and I thought, well, why don't I go with flowers then for the bird? And that I can figure out the path better on, and I thought that can then match. So this is what designing is about. Now, you're going to see I put all kinds of notes around here, too. And we'll talk about more of that in a minute. I'm going to I'm going to flip to my forward camera, and you're seeing my light, so let's get that out of the way. There we go. Welcome, everybody. I'm so excited to see some old faces in here, or names in here, people in here, and new people too. I want to talk a little bit about what we're going to do this fall. And before I forget, please click on the like button. That helps our algorithms from YouTube, and we get better offers from them. Tammy can always tell you more about that. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Tammy. For my age, this is what you get. Hi, Bev. Is it Tia or Tu? I know I've known how to pronounce it. Welcome to class. Good morning, Melissa. Oh, I'm sorry you've got a headache today. That's always hard to deal with. So anyway, this semester we're going to be coordinating this class with the beginning and the intermediate class. And what that means is, like, this week Tammy talked about doing the Josephine chain. And so whenever she talks about a technique, we're going to try and use that then in a design. So, and there's so many things you can do. Oh, I forgot one thing. Just a second. Woo. Oops, it was sitting in the hallway. Something new I'm going to show you that I have an idea on for my bird is, this is actually a I think it's a screw up, or is it magnetic clasp? It's got a clasp up here anyway. It's to make your own necklaces, but we're going to use it. I'm going to flip down just for a second here. My idea is to put it inside this ring, and I want to make some kind of a little branch and some leaves around it. So this is one of the possibilities I'd love to see you try. I'll show you where I picked these up from Amazon. I believe there's other places, and I'm not sure. I never shop out in stores anymore. I do everything online now. Okay, so that's what I just wanted to show you to get started while we're waiting for people to come in. Is there anything you want to say, Tammy, before we get going? Good morning, Elise. I am so glad to see all of you coming. We're going to talk today about supplies. I'm going to talk a little bit about beginning to design, and a lot of other things you can do with the designs. We're going to be able to put them together. We're going to really talk about shapes. Shapes are really the basics of tatting design. Everything around us in the entire world is made up of simple shapes. So that's going to be our main topic when we start designing. The new exciting news is that, and this was just, what night was it? Tuesday night. Tammy and I were talking late Tuesday night, and I had been thinking during the day about how many people really enjoyed learning to diagram. And that's part of designing nowadays, is diagramming. So I've decided that this first session will be like all our others have been. We're just talking about design, the process of design. We'll be looking at others' designs. We'll be looking at mine as we go. and we'll talk about how to start and all of anything that's connected with design. We'll talk about one of the topics sometime that we want to talk about is recently there was a post in a tatting group about this doily that had rings going, not rings, it was chains on either side of a ring. And the chains came in from the top and they went out, let's see, facing I can't say, facing down, which really gives you, it's not symmetrical, it's not balanced as far as the way our brain interprets balance most of the time. And it gives you kind of a feeling like something is off. I don't like this. So we're going to talk a little bit at one point about the psychology behind that, because there's a lot of research that has been done on it. Is there anything you want to ask before we get started, any of you? I want to know, what do you expect out of these classes? What would you like to get out of the classes? It sure does mess with the brain, Tammy. Any ideas? Well, as we go, if you think of something that you want in the design class, a question you have, ask it. I'll stop and ask for questions if I remember. Hi, Mike. So glad to see you here. So let's start. For some of you, this is going to be a lot of review. Supplies. We'll start with supplies. Of course, I often use my, I'll put this up, a clipboard to design, because I can keep it right next to my chair in the living room where I do a lot of my work. And I've made my own. You can buy clipboards at the dollar store. You can buy them all over. So, but what I've done here, any piece of cardboard, I happen to have, this is actually a piece of mat board. If you can see on the back, it's got 2 layers, but it's really sturdy. And these were leftovers that I got at one time. I don't know if you still can. You might be able to, but any heavy-duty cardboard will work. And then I just use a clip at the top. I got these cute little ones at an office supply store. They're like, whoa, getting used to how to put things in front of the camera. Little decorated ones from one of the office supply stores. And that's the way I like to design a lot of times. Now, you can also, I keep next to my chair. It doesn't have any tatting designs in it right now. But you can get, and I usually buy these from Jerry's Art-A-Rama. It's a little hand-size 4x6 reflection sketchbook. And they're really inexpensive. It does, you do have to order like $35 worth of art supplies. So if you're an artist, but you can often find these in craft stores and Hobby Lobby and Michael's and all. So, but this one I like because it's got a little elastic, and it just has nice sketch paper in it. This one that I'm using happens to be one I'm using for some sketching classes that I'm doing. And that also comes in a 5x7 size. I obviously use lots of, this is another clipboard. Oh, I keep forgetting to put it up. This is another clipboard I have. And I obviously draw on copy paper. So copy paper is one of the supplies that you can use. You can also use dot grid paper, which you can buy at any office supply stores, and sometimes even like places like Walmart and all like that. Walmart has a decent, yes, they got a decent selection of sketchbooks. Yeah, Walmart's a great place to find a lot of things that we use. This I got online. You can buy, and this is a dot grid. I don't know if you have a lighting, you can see the dots. Oh, there you go. This is a dot grid book that I purchased, again on Amazon. And pencils I like to use. You can use just a your plain old number 2 pencil. I like to use pencils. These are like this is a Bic. It's upside down. Let's see if I can go this way. The Bic Velocity number 2. Another one, I like this one because it's got a thicker barrel than most, and it does come, and they have nice, the white erasers on the end of them are really nice. Here's another Bic, just one of their regular Bics. It's skinnier, but I did get one with the little grip on it. So now what I am going to show you, and I'm going to try something new, because what we're going to do for design class in the second sessions that start at 8 o'clock tonight and every week, the second design class session is going to be all on Inkscape. How to use Inkscape, starting with the very, very basics, so that you can learn to diagram. And we'll be starting that tonight. When the link is sent out, you will get, we're going to use Inkscape. You can always go to inkscape.org and download the program before class. I also, at the beginning of class, will go through how to download it. And the reason I'm mentioning that is because in a minute I am going to try something that we'll be using. Make sure it works for class tonight, because we're going to talk about binders similar to this. Now, as you can see, the size of this is, I think it might be 4 by 6. Let me check with my little sketchbook. I think it's 4 by 5.5. This is a 2-ring little binder. I bought it out of an office supply store, and some do. They're made for index cards. I don't happen to have an index card with pre-punched holes, but you can buy them with pre-punched holes. Phew, pre-punched holes! Tammy has always used index cards for her samples, and she's asking people to make samples for the intermediate and beginner classes too. Keep all of your samples. I have all kinds of, like I've shown you, all these little odd pieces. I have bunches of them, and she keeps them on a card in a 2-hole binder, or she doesn't use the 2-hole binder yet. I think I'm not sure how I can't remember how she keeps it. Say that 3 times. I don't think so, Tammy. So, and what's nice about the whole index cards, the white ones, or you can get colored ones, but you have to punch your own holes, is that you can put your sample on the front with a removable tape, and you can write about your sample on the back. So this is really a nice way to keep it. You could also just punch your holes and put like a key ring on it. You keep them in a folder, and they need a binder. So you could keep them on a ring. I'm going to show you now the only place that I have found to get these, and the exciting, but they're $12. I'm going to show you where to get them. The exciting thing is Tammy is going to design one using, you can buy just the little ring part itself for the binder spine. And Tammy told me that she has been able to find those other places than just online. And she's going to teach us how to make a cover for this out of fabric and other materials so that you could even put a tatting piece on the front of it. And that should be a really fun project to do. And I'm going to start trying this method too, because before I have always put all of mine in a little baggie, and I think not in baggies, and I've always kept them in, it's just a little purse that I got somewhere, and so I usually have it filled with all my little baggies. You can't even tell what that is. This is a moon with an eye in it. I don't know if you can even see that mixed among the other things. I use just these little baggies for all my pieces, and I do often keep them just in a little bag, like I showed you. I'm going to show you another way in a minute that I do it, but let's keep on with the binders. We're going to try something right now that I haven't tried yet, and I'm hoping that you'll be able to see my screen. Let me see if my screenshot works. Okay. Aha! I think you can see this. I have gone to Amazon and I put in index card binders, and right here you can find the Oxford index card binder. It's 3x5, and you buy one of them. It is expensive. I'm going to click on it. It's $11.99 to get one of them, and you get whatever color they send you. But you can see it comes with the 50 index cards and also dividers. So you can even divide up your categories in there. And so this one has a little pocket on the left. Now, also, another way, and you'll see there's already index cards that come in little packets too, with a ring already around them. I think you get 4 of them for the $12.99. And this you can do yourself, is just take some cardboard and get a hole punch and make your own. Just get a little key ring. The other thing you're going to find, I'm going to click back, is there are all kinds of holders. There's all 4 purple ones for $11.50. You can get spiral little notebooks, $2.99 for a 3x5 Mead wire bound. They're ruled, but you can use ruled. So there's a lot of choices. Here's a little flip binder. Oh wait, maybe that's, sometimes what they're showing here, instead of index cards, they're showing business card holders. Here are some more little plastic organizers with file tabs. I know there's a collection. Here we go. Let's try this one. Here, C-line index card holders. As you can see, they have a little snap top. You can always turn the tabs over here for your categories if you want to categorize yours. And these work really well to hold your index cards. So if you don't want to, start out with a binder, a little mini binder to start with, that's a way to go. Now I'm going to put in 2-hole. Whoops, that didn't go. 2-hole, what do I want? Binder spines. There's a 6-hole one. There's a 2-hole one. Now these, you do get 5 of them in a package, and they have little D-rings in them. Now this one happens to be $19.99 for the 4 of them. Maybe we can trade with each other somehow or something like that. But I do believe they come in a smaller package. I may not look all the way through this right now to find it, but Tammy and I can I'll find a direct link. 10 packs of 2 of them for $12.99. So this is what we're really going to focus on, hopefully, is making these yourself. And this, because I'm able to show you my desktop screen, when we get to the class tonight, I'll be able to open up Inkscape and you can watch every move I make and follow along for how to use Inkscape. So that should be really fun and a great way to learn it, rather than we tried it before in the Chatsy, just in a chat room. And we got some good work done in there. So I'm going to close this down. Whoops. Go to my forward camera again. And I'm going to finish supplies. Another thing you can buy, different places, sometimes even in Hobby Lobby, will have these in their crafts section, the small little baggies. And what I often do is, sometimes I'll just use the small Ziploc baggies too. I will punch holes in them. Whoops, everything fell out. I'll punch holes in them. And I'm going to flip to my down camera again. This flipping is working pretty good. I put a lot of my designs that I'm drawing just in a regular, plastic 3-ring binder. And then on the page that has the design, like I have one, if I put these little paisleys in the little baggie, and then I would just clip it, slide them in, clip it into my notebook. I'll put holes, punch holes in the bottom, and clip it through 3 of them. And that's another way I like to keep my designs as I'm designing them. Maybe someday you'll see all these designs finished. But for now, they're all just, I do more teaching and drawing than I do actually designing the tatted pieces. I get going on them, and then something else comes up, like teaching this class, and I go off and do other things. So, but this notebook is full of this is my Paisley notebook. These came out of Dover free clip art, or they're not free books, but once you buy them, and I've shown those before, you get all these designs that you can use copyright free. And they're great for getting started. We're going to try and get some work done using these. I can share, I've got about 5 books, and I can share up to 10 of those designs in one document. And we're going to use those both in the diagramming class and in the, whoops, what did I do? Oh, I just closed my scene window, I think. Now you're going to see, because you're on the desktop, you're going to see my desktop with, let's see. Let me see if I just closed it and it's still here. Oh, that's YouTube. There's the chat. And I don't see the... Let me see. This is me getting used to teaching again. It's been a while. Let me see what I can find. Should have my... Well, let me open up. Let's hope that opening up my OBS... Oh, there's my OBS window. I'm sorry about that, everyone. Beginnings of the class for the session, the 6-week session, is always a little bit messy going. Now I gotta get my chat window back, wherever that went. Whoops. Here we go. Now I can go on my down. Okay. Let's see, Tammy, please add treble stitch to list of techniques. I would love to have people start using the treble stitch in designs. That is one of the easiest ways to make your designs original. Well, hi, Teresa. I didn't see you come in. And let's see, what else has everybody said? Saw a bunny on a different pay, a bunny and a ring of leaves for a window. Yep, yep. There's so much we can do with, and I like, you know, rings, regular macrame rings are so thick. That's why I love working, the idea of working with these little necklace rings. They are flexible, but I think once you get a design in, or even if you're tatting over the whole thing, it's going to help keep it flat. And if you are, I mean, you guys make a tatted necklace too, put tatting on it. Because it's made to slide on pendants and things like that. But I think once you're then hanging it, like if you're hanging on the wall or from a window, I'm thinking of putting my bird and tree in there and hanging in the window. Large snowflakes would be beautiful too. What's nice about these is that they are so thin, so it's not such a clunky and heavy finished piece. So let's see, this is this notebook. I think I've showed you just about everything. This is a bookmark I was given, and it's in a plastic bookmark sleeve. You can buy those. I'm not sure exactly. I mostly know that you can buy everything on Amazon, but I don't know where in other stores you would find them. I think this was made by Amy O'Malley. It was a bookmark exchange. Another way I keep my supplies sometimes are my papers. If not in a 3-ring binder, there's these little plastic envelopes. I get mine at the dollar store. And also these little plastic envelopes that I keep, I'll put in, like, if I'm really working hard on one pattern and have a lot of pages, I'll just stick it in one of these. Here's another sketchbook, and I believe you can even find these now at, oh, my cover's missing. And no, my cover's not missing, it's covered up. It's covered up with a watercolor painting. These are just Canson spiral notebooks. And you can even do your drawing in these. Get to see a little bit of some of the things I put in here. I have backgrounds and everything for journaling. Now, I want to talk about, you're going to also need, of course, all the tatting supplies. My supply sheet isn't finished. I've put all the classes on. Your camera is too close to the table. Okay, that's right. Move it away. Thanks, Tammy. Now what are you seeing? You're seeing my shirt and my shorts. I'll move it up a little. There we go, and get it up even higher. Getting used to working again on this. I've put it in a different place on my desktop, so let's see if I can pull this out so you don't see me. My shirt button. Okay, books that you really are worthwhile to get when you're designing. pretty short. Yeah, those are actually they're just soft knit, and they're what I slept in last night. I put on a pretty shirt to show in class. The first one is Judith Connor's Dictionary of Tatting. This book, because when you are writing patterns, and if you want to know what something is, like here is that the spiral tatting? That's the Josephine chain. And it's got all kinds of things in it. It shows techniques, definition, terms. You really need to be using good terms. And we're going to do this in all the classes. Terms are going to be stressed. And one of the best things, oh, I don't like that. Look, see if I can get closer to the table. I know, I'll pull my window out, maybe. I'm sorry. I'm going to need some practicing with this new setup here. Now I lost my train of thought, so we'll keep going with books. Another one is Rhoda Alt's book. She does a lot of big tatting that looks a lot like macrame, but she shows lots of bead techniques. There's a bead in the center of a ring. Her book is really, there's a nice sample. Making chains we're going to want in our class. I'll show you what I'll put up. Moose Can, quite a few years ago, Moose Can, when she was attending the design classes, she put together a chain chart for us. And here are they're not on an index card yet, but they're going to be soon. I make my samples so I can really see how the stitches are made out of size 3, Lisbeth. This is all, it's not the zigzag stitch, it's the zigzag chain. And I'm going to talk about this just for a minute, because when you're talking about Josephine chains, when you learn to do Victorian sets, which are sets of like 3 first half stitches, 3 to 5 first half stitches, and then 3 to 5 second half stitches. What you get is a straight chain, but it has a zigzag effect on top of it. That's when people talk about a zigzag. It's a zigzag effect out of Victorian sets. This is a zigzag chain. It actually zigs and zags, because what you're doing is whole stitches, whole DS, and you're doing, like I think I'm doing 4 in each section. 4 up, switch shuttles, 4 down out of white, switch shuttles, 4 red ones, 4 white ones facing down. And these are all the same thing, just, I think that one's exactly the same, but I've got a bunch more. Like this is just 1 and 1. 1 up, 1 down, 1 up, 1 down. And there's a good tutorial on that. Paradise Treasures, I believe it is. It's Sabina Madden, whose website, and we'll be talking about things like that later in class. What was the other thing? The other thing you can do for now too is just use a paper clip. Oops, I don't have one here for now, and clip your cards on. If you don't have any, I'm doing this where our topics are jumping around a little, just because I happen to have this sitting in front of me, one of my samples. It'll show up better on here because you'll see the white and the red. And this might be why you, if you do decide to use index cards, why you might want to get some colors. That is like that pattern term gets me of time, so I don't use that wonky bit that's fiddly. You know what I called those wonky bits that I end up with, all your extra little, I call them tat bits. I know that that's actually the name of, who is it that uses that? I can't, now all of a sudden I can't think of her name. I know who she is. Sharon Briggs, I believe, goes by tat bits. You could just, for now, paper clip to your cards. Tammy says she takes the little small bags. I hope that from other classes I don't keep jumping my topics back and forth, but I have no written plan today. I'm just talking. She actually staples a baggie under the card and then puts her sample into the baggie that way, because you want to be able to take them off. You can use the acid-free double stick tape, but you only want to you don't want to stick the whole thing down, just a piece, a part of it, because you don't want your next card to stick together. So using the little tiny baggies is a great way to put them on a card, taking them with you when you're designing, and even when you're looking at how you've done a previous piece. You want to be able to see both sides. Okay, so that's the Rhoda Alt book. Another one, I've only got one of my Elgiva Nichols books, but the orange one and this one, they are both similar, but they do have differences in them. The other one, her orange book, is called Tatting Techniques and History. Her books are fantastic. You'll recognize some things because I think, maybe is it that or the next page, is a photo that, or a picture that that Georgia has used on one of her handouts, came from this book. And that's on doing, nodes and picots, yeah, those are up and down. All of it, see what I'm getting, I'm thinking, is that pearl tatting or is that just Josephine knots up and down? I think it's Josephine knots up and down. That's a whole section on the node stitch. Mignonnet, she's just got all kinds of stuff in her books. The other book has more on shapes, putting shapes together for tatting. And if this is the one I have shown before, I showed it, my copy of it. And at the last time I have to get it taped up. The last time I went to my storage unit, I found a whole box of the rest of my tatting books. Thank you, Tammy. Yeah, the node stitch. I found my original Elgiva Nichols tatting. And this is just fantastic. If you find a copy, they're out of print. This one I bought from a library in Grand Rapids, Michigan. But this book is also, I mean, the things that she has done with tatting, and I think this one was original copyright back in 1959. This is copyright edition 1959. Very hard to find. If you ever see one, get it. She's made herself a little box to pin to make her little picot chains with lots of picots. I think here's another thing. instead of a ring, if you want to put something on a wall and have an unusual look, she's put these around a piece of just cording. Or you could hang it down from a ring, or just hang it down from a clip of some type, or one of those stick on the window hooks. But this to me is just fascinating, and the idea of it is, I love it as a framed. It would be beautiful. So, okay, another book, and I'm thinking this might be out of print. I'm not sure. I think Judy Banachek's books are. They're another one to pick up. This is her advanced tatting book. And she has just, let me see here. I want to find one of her. I mean, she has done all kinds of diagrams. This is mock Clooney chaining. There's patterns in here. Oh, here we go. A lot of things that talk about, like here's joins, mock chain, lock join, shoelace trick. So this is a wonderful book if you can find any of hers. She had a couple of them. They're all out of print. So snap those up. Another out of print book that I would pick up is To Bold to Go, Where No Shuttle Has Gone Before. This has got a lot of innovative. This also is out of print. So these are things as a designer that you want to look for. She does a lot of different, just kind of manipulation of different tatted elements. And looks like she's using a pencil for measurement there, right there. So this is another book that I would definitely pick up if you see it. Now, I know there's a lot of other books. Anybody have a book that, Pam Palmer. I've got some of her books. I love hers. Well, the flowers were awesome. Yeah, those are, Elgiva Nichols flowers and things are just wonderful. All right. Any questions? Any questions at all? I guess we ought to look at something here. But I think pretty much we've gone through everything for today. So I think what we'll do is just flip up. And I want to talk about, now that this is up, it's going to be in front of me, but I guess I don't need it now. So we'll put it out of the way. What a shame. All right, everybody. Like I said, we are going to start talking shapes, and that's kind of where we ended up in the last classes, if you had been to those. And we're going to start there now, and it's a good beginning point. There are many different ways to begin designing. And you may use only one way, or you may use different ways depending upon the project. You can just start out with your shuttle and your thread and start tatting and just see what comes up. Jane Eberall, she simply will look at a picture, like a picture of a dachshund online, and then she just starts tatting. She just looks at that and tats her designs. Now, I want to get answers for you. I want you to think about what is tatting. I consider it an adventure. And if you look at it as an adventure or a puzzle, that's what we're doing. I'm going to use the word exploring. That's one word. What other words can anybody think of that describes designing? Let's get some answers here. When we had this discussion or any of the question discussions in Chatsy, there were always bunches of answers. Can you think of anything else about designing? I called it an adventure because I don't know if I'm having a lag or just nobody feelings. Yes, yes, Lisa. Designing is definitely about feelings. Tatting has moods. Moods come, music, yes, it is music. Um, Mel, Melanie, who used to do our homework site. She has done tatting where she's very musical and into music, and she has done, she did a doily, I remember, to I think it was a Bach melody. It is music. There's highs and lows, and our tatting can go up and down. The color can go from low key to very high key. There's a lot of musical associations with tatting, with designing. Overwhelmed with designing, so they are scared words. It can be scary. It can be scary. Makes your fingers dance. I love that, Tammy. It's also a lot about math, and we'll be talking about that. There's a lot of math associations. I'm trying to think of some of the names. Patty Duff, I think, is the one that did that parabola tatting. Mooscan is used mathematical concepts in her tatting. The magic square is based on a mathematical formula. Tatting in art requires patience and self-compassion. Yes, yes. And you need to get that little critic, it's a big critic sometimes, off your shoulder. When you're designing, you're not looking for perfection. I mean, perfection in anything, to me, that's somebody higher up that can do things with perfection. The beginner Mike knows all about math. Yep, Mooscan does. She does a lot of it. I think Nanetta does too. And when you think shapes are mathematical, the shapes we use. So there are a lot of fields. And I said exploration. It's about experimenting. A lot of experimenting. And experimenting with how rings and chains and all the tatting elements can be arranged. Experimenting with the shapes you can make by the way you combine them together. Tatting is about practice, a lot of practice. And one of the main things with designing is, besides originality, which is another topic we'll get into, is, I lost my train of thought again. I was talking about exploring, and I was talking about experimenting. I mentioned practice. It's about trial and error. Stops and starts, starting over again, and keep every single scrap piece that you make. Put it on a card, write down, maybe you want to write down why on the back, why or why not it didn't work. Or, you know, a lot of times something you've done before, even the piece itself or a piece of a piece itself, you can use in another design. It might be the perfect thing for another design. You're looking for what you see in your mind's eye. Yes, yes. Oh, I almost forgot a really important part. Designing is about seeing, not just looking. In our day-to-day world, we look at all kinds of things. We're always looking around. But we don't often, like when we were a child and learning about the world, expressions, yes, and expressions of your own personality and your own style, and thinking about what style and what things others are going to like if you're going to design and sell your patterns. But when we were children, I mean, you'd see a little toddler just learning to walk, and he's picking up rocks and looking at them. He's picking flowers and looking at them, and really looking at them. You want to look at the details, look at the fine shapes. Like I said, everything in the world is made out of basic shapes. Either geometric, your squares, your circles, or organic, which are your squiggly type outlines that kind of go everywhere. Remember my experiment with rings to make a pattern with? I had a bunch of various sized rings and played around with them. Yes, that's what you're doing. You're playing around with how can I put these shapes together? And after I figure out a shape, the shapes together, what tatting elements do I use in those shapes? And we'll also be talking about design elements. I'm not starting class this time like I always used to with learning the design elements. We'll learn those as we go. There are like 7 basic elements that we'll be talking about. They are line, shape, space, rhythm, repetition and pattern, and color are 5 basic ones. Now, when you talk about design elements, in the field of design, there are people look at these and organize them in different ways sometimes. Some people don't even put like color and value into one category. They'll put it into the principles of design. And I think I just gave you rhythm, repetition. Those are principles of the design, not the elements. And when we get to that class, you'll understand the more difference. See, you still got it. Are those older classes on the YouTube channel? No, they're not. They were all done in chat. See, well, there's just a few from last spring when I was, I did a couple classes before Kay did the design class for a while. And then I started again. But I will, those chat logs are still available if anybody's really interested in reading them, but they're not up any place at this time. Let's see. Blinds can do it too. Many times I tap without looking at it, yes. Kids are fascinated with everything. And that's what we have to do. We have to go back to being kids and exploring the things that we look at and really see them. And that's the things you can develop. You can develop that skill for looking at things. And even as we're going along, we'll be working with them in this class, and especially talking about the principles and elements in the Inkscape class as we draw our shapes. Tammy, the ones you taught and then the ones Kay did are on our site. Well, for me, it was just the video ones that are on. Why am I not ready to be young again? Oh, you are. Well, maybe because you're so busy, Tammy, with all your moving and your trailer move that's coming up. And, really for inspiration and creativity. Creativity is something a lot of people don't know that every one of us has. And we've been using it all our life, our creativity. Maybe not in art, but creativity is something, it's an innate talent that I don't usually use the words all or never or things like that. Most people have. I mean, if you've ever substituted an ingredient in a recipe or changed the recipe a little bit or change the amount of what you put in a recipe, that's being creative. If you've ever taken a household item and used it in place of something else that you don't have, like a pin to hold things together if you don't have a button, those are things that we learn and know, but we don't think of them as being creative, and they are. And creativity can be learned and developed. That skill can be developed, and we'll be developing your design skills here. Even famous like Bach and Beethoven, they practiced all the time. They learned. It just didn't happen. Not that there aren't some people who can sit down and play at a piano and then start, and they could pick up and make tunes and all, but the whole thing of music, they had to really learn a lot of things, and they did. I think Bach started when he was 4 or 5. His father got him. Okay, got to run. We are at an hour, which is what I probably, sometimes we'll go, when I get talking on a topic, when we start, we'll probably go over an hour, but maybe not. It depends upon how many here can stay a little longer or can't. And I hope to see many of you back tonight for the Inkscape class. And there will be an email coming out in a while with the new link for that session. And I think this is where we'll end it. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something about design, and we shall see you tonight or next week or in another class. So thanks for coming. Click the like button, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye. I still have to find my YouTube channel again. Here it is to end the stream.